Now I'd like to introduce the GES team. That's Global Energy Solutions LLC. I know it's a complicated name, but just call it GES. My co-managing member is Scott Corbett, right here. Scott is the technical side and the design and the international aspect of this project. Dr. Bobby Williams, most of y'all know him. He can't stand up. He doesn't know how. But he just wants to wave. But he is a local person, and we felt like we needed somebody in the area who was knowledgeable, who was well respected and liked, and highly thought of. Yeah, I know. That's the best we could do. Seriously, Bobby is now more than just a partner. He is one of my dearest friends. As long as he lets me fish in his lake next year like he promised. We have one other partner. He's from South Alabama. His name is Buddy Turner. Buddy. You know, it's funny. People don't know how to stand up anymore. I watched all of y'all. Y'all got about halfway up and took it down, waved or whatever. Supposed to have good posture. My mama used to fuss at me about that. I'm going to give you an overview of the project, and we'll go through it on the screen here. And I think I'm supposed to operate something, so we'll see how this goes. I'm going to go over the basic numbers quickly. This is not going to be a long meeting. Then I'm going to let Scott talk a little bit about the specifics of the project. And at that time, after that, if there are any questions, we'd be happy to answer them. My charge as an economic development consultant when I came on board was to bring biomass industry to Sumter County. Dr. Bobby kept telling me there was lots and lots and lots of surplus wood here, timber. And as most of you know in this room, Cortland IP's, one of their flagship plants closed in March, and that dropped another 3 million tons of timber into the market. One of the things I asked IDA to do was to invest a lot of money, $25,000 in a wood study that was acceptable to the European utilities that we were targeting. And they did it, and the study came back just like Dr. Bobby said it would. It had the best surplus of wood at the best price, closest to our location, that we've ever seen anywhere. Let me say that again. It has the best source of wood at the most competitive price, and price is based on distance, primarily. And it's right here, within a 75-mile radius of the Port of Epps. With that in mind, we made the decision to move forward, and I created a design for this project. This is the planned Port of Epps Biomass Center. There are going to be 3 phases to this project. The first phase will be a chip mill. It's going to run around $20 million. It'll make 1 million tons a year of chips, and it'll have the capacity to expand to 2 to 3 million, depending on the demand. And we think the demand is going to be significant. Phase 2, which will follow phase 1, will be the construction of a 500 to 750,000 metric ton wood fuel pellet plant. It will manufacture wood fuel pellets that will be sold either in Europe, Japan, Scandinavia, or somewhere in the European Union. They have all been mandated by the Kyoto Protocol to reduce their greenhouse gas emissions. Thus, you see the proliferation of pellet plant projects in this country. And you're in the best location of it all. The last phase, and it may end up being the second phase, depending on how the demand curve works with chips, is a design and construction of a intermodal port on that slip to make it not just a gash in the side of the river, but a fully serviceable multi-user intermodal port that will be owned by Sumter County. Will not be owned by GES, will be owned by Sumter County, and they will directly get the benefits. Another thing I probably need to mention is that the chip mill will employ initially probably 10 to 15 people. The pellet mill, once up and running, will employ directly in the neighborhood of 75 people. And the port will be another 20 people at least, depending on what we end up handling. We designed the port with intermodality in mind because you have something that only one other area in the southeast that I'm aware of, other than on the Mississippi, has. And that is, you have an interstate 1.2 miles from the site, you have rail, and you have the Tenton, which is the most underutilized navigable waterway in the country. Those are the three projects. They total between, depending on the volume and the size, $150 and $200 million. We're talking about 100 jobs minimum and potentially 150, and these are permanent full-time jobs. We're also talking about indirect jobs that will range between 400 and 600 because of the impact on the logging industry, the gasoline distributors, repair shops. You're fixing to see a change in the game in Sumter County. Now we'll move forward with this as quickly as I can, and I'm not going to read all of these to you, but I would like to make a few points. We've already begun to permit, design, and build a state-of-the-art 1 million ton chip mill. It will be initially 1 million tons. We've actually already secured the equipment. We anticipate this mill to grow and be expanded as demand grows, and we can increase our capacity to 2.5 million tons. We also intend on being our own customer when we build our pellet plant, because pellet plants need chips. Guess who's going to sell them the chips? We are. Okay, let's go to the next slide. I will have this available by email. I'll send it to Veronica. If anybody would like to read it in more depth, in the interest of time, I'm not going to read every one of these. A little bit about the pellet mill. It's going to be built on a 72-acre site. Total investment around $120 million. Total direct jobs 65 to 75 at full production. The site will be adjacent to the port and to the chip mill. That will afford us maximum savings in logistical cost and transportation. We won't have to truck our pellets. We can load them directly onto a barge. Capacity, if we can secure 1 million tons in offtake agreement, we could actually build a 1 million ton plant here. That would be the largest in this country. Now, we're shooting for 500,000 ton, 450, 500,000 ton, but it all depends on the offtake agreements that we get with European utilities. We already have offtake agreement negotiations in progress right now. Scott will tell you a little more about that in a minute. I mentioned the wood basket study. It was not just robust, it was spectacular. We're going to create a cooperative for timber owners. Dr. Bobby's going to head up that effort to where timber owners who have been taking a beating here lately, I think the price of pulpwood is around $6 a ton right now, am I correct, in this area? When it ought to be around 12, 16. We're going to pay more money than that for our timber. And we're going to form a cooperative to where we can ensure the timber owners that they will make a profit, and they will do so for a specific length of time, and then we'll renew the contract. That's something that's never been done in this industry before. We're going to offer a total logistics contract to other pellet mills to where we will come and where our trucking genius, Buddy Turner, who headed up one of the largest trucking companies that haul pellets in the country, will actually come to your pellet plant, pick up your pellets, we'll bring them to Epps, load them on our barges, and take them to Mobile for you. We're gonna need an industrial access road. It's probably gonna cost $3 or $4 million. Josh, where are you? Take notes there. Commerce guy, we're gonna be coming to see you. We need an industrial access road. The state typically will provide funding for that. Let's move on to phase 3 and talk a little bit about the port. How am I doing, Jay? That button pushing doing pretty good. We're gonna have a 760-foot long dock, concrete dock. We're gonna dredge the slip to a depth of 11 feet, which will handle all the barging that we can take. We can actually stockpile. A barge is on the average 200 foot long. That slip is at least 2,000 feet long. So you can see the number of barges that we can handle. So we could be a major hub for shipping in this area, not to mention pellets, but other commodities as well. In fact, we've already been approached by a local business interested in shipping by barge their material in containers. Hence the reason we designed the port to handle containers. We have a model over here. If you get a chance after lunch to look at it, you can kind of get a better idea for what it looks like and how it's going to function. As you know, we have rail and interstate access. We have all the utilities we need. We have an 8-inch gas line that will handle our dryers and the pellet operation. We will probably be, I think, Mayor, the largest customer of the gas company. I get this number wrong every time, and I was going to talk about the numbers. 300 million BTUs per hour is what we're going to be burning at full production in the pellet plant. 300 million, 24/7. And we've got plenty of room for expansion. There's the site. We have it on a drawing over here as well. You can see how it's going to lay out on the property. And you'll also see that we have a number of other lots available in my design. And those lots are available for other industries, be they biomass or any other item, any other industry. I've already been contacted by 2 distribution center prospects that are interested in locating here because of the intermodality of this plant. Of this port. I hope to bring more industry to Sumter County. Thank you. That's an enlarged view of the port. You can probably see it better on the model. This is an excerpt from the Wood study where it backs up what I told you. And this Wood study is the only study acceptable to the European utilities. And they've been very impressed with what we showed. This is the area that we'll be drawing from, timber-wise. To the north of that is Cortland, and they're closed. So there's 300 million tons up there. 3 million, I'm sorry, I'm getting stuck on 300 million. So we can draw from there as well. But this is optimum for a pellet plant, to be able to draw this, from this small an area, the tonnage that you need to produce pellets. And there's our contact information if you want to call us. Might want to leave that one up there. Seriously, we'd be happy to talk to anybody and everybody. I'm going to ask Scott Corbett now to come up and talk a little bit about the technical aspects of it. And Scott, if you would. Before I do, Scott has a PhD in engineering, in mechanical and electrical, and he's a registered professional engineer. You will notice that he doesn't talk like us. As my mama says, he ain't from around here, but I love his voice. Scott Corbett.
Thank you, Tom. Ladies and gentlemen, dignitaries, I welcome the opportunity to be here. I'm very excited about this project. I've been doing timber-related projects internationally for more than 20 years. And when I was approached to have a look at this particular project, I looked at it. I said to Tom, this is a true diamond in the rough. I have not seen the potential for a project like we have developed for here anywhere near the potential of this anywhere in the world. This has not only the combination of the site, but we have the support of the guardian of the site, the Industrial Development Authority. We have the support of the state of Alabama. So we have everything before us to make a successful project happen. We don't have the barriers that we typically face going into a project of this magnitude. Now, our core concept in everything that we do is we must bring benefit to the community. And in doing so, we look at multiple aspects. We don't want to come in here as the 800-pound gorilla and stand on the toes of other industry. So as sad as it is that Cortland has demised, we are coming in and taking up some of the slack and some of the heartache from the demise of that industry. It in itself took 3 million tons of fibre a year. The excess and the opportunity for us opened up overnight. So that became a number one driver. The number two is very rarely do you ever see a site that has so much infrastructure already there. The port has been dug. It's been sitting there for 30 years. Never developed. The power is on the site. The rail is on the site. The gas is on the site. This is so exciting. It has the opportunities that I've never seen, and I continue to go on about those. But the more important thing is that we have high unemployment in this area. Unlike a lot of technical industries that go into areas, we have a lot of unskilled jobs available. Of course we have skilled jobs too, but the percentage is low in the overall scheme. So we will be able to offer local people work. The next part is how we've designed this dovetailing of these industries. Each of them paying a royalty to the Industrial Development Authority. So we have the chip mill that pays a royalty on its production. We have the pellet mill that pays a royalty on its production. And we have the port that pays a royalty on everything that's shipped. All of these funds go to the Industrial Development Authority, which allows them to reinvest it in the community for further development. Now, some of it will be developed on the site. So our whole philosophy is we're not coming in here just as developers. We are coming in here as operators. We want to be part of your community. We're listening to what you have to say. If we're doing something wrong, tell us. Because we're not here for anything other than mutual benefit. This will kick off in January. We've started the permitting process, and unfortunately, permitting is one of the longer issues that's in the type of industry that we're in. However, I'm excited. We went to a meeting with the state, and I have to thank the Industrial Development and Jimmy Collins. Prior to us moving forward with this, we had to go to Economic Development and Community Affairs for a meeting to get registration, basically. Jimmy Collins took the time to come along to learn about how we have to navigate through the hoops and I'm so impressed with Jimmy and the economic development, because now they understand, you know, what the critical things that we have to do. They're not by choice, it's because that's what the state requires. Now, the flip side to that is the state gave us some very, very encouraging news on how they will assist us to fast track anything that we put forward. So I thank the state for that. This project will break ground on the chip mill in the first quarter of next year. We're in the middle of negotiating offtake agreements for the pellets, which will be dependent on certain factors in the industry at the moment. But we have multiple offers on the table, and it'll take until the first of next year before we decide on which one of those that we move with. The chip mill is the first part, as I say, for us to produce. We've secured equipment to come in. Engineering will be completed before the end of the year, and construction will start middle of January. It will take 5 to 6 months to complete that chip mill, in which time we will have already started construction on the pellet plant. The pellet plant will take 12 to 15 months to complete. In the meantime, we'll be producing chips and shipping our chips to other users. So there is a real strong demand in the southern region for wood chip in any event. Eventually, of course, all of that wood chip will go to the pellet plant, and then only the excess that we produce will go to other users. Again, I thank you all for taking the time to come to this occasion and this exciting venture. I thank the university for making this venue possible. I'd like to thank my partners for all the support that they have given, and I look forward to becoming part of the community. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Scott. There's one thing I need to add. I met with Dr. John Blackwell last week. Getting old brings senility, doesn't it? And he told me about a pre-forestry curriculum they have at UWA. We want to partner with the university in research and development. We will have a full lab on site that will be for quality control testing, because these pellets have to meet stringent standards in order to be accepted by the European utilities. We've got some other exciting possibilities for this area with respect to trees, different kinds of trees. The gentleman sitting to my right has biogenetically engineered the fastest growing tree in the world that's non-invasive and could be utilized for biomass. We're not even going to talk about that today. But we want to work with UWA and be full partners with them and support them in their efforts in this community, as well as the K through 12 program, and be a corporate partner to them as well. We think this project is going to be extremely successful. If we're successful, that means we make money, that means you make money, and there'll be money to give back to our community. And that's what we intend on doing. The green aspect, yes. In order for us to sell these pellets, we have to be carbon neutral. How many of us in here now are carbon neutral? None of us. If you drove here, you're not carbon neutral. But the entire reason and concept behind burning wood pellets and burning a certain kind of wood pellets that are manufactured in a green way is the purpose and the reason behind the explosion in pellet plants today. Our processes will be ISO 9000 certified as well, and we will be state of the art. This will probably be a plant that people will come and want to see. We're going to do it right, or we're not going to do it. and we decided to do it. Now I know that there's probably a lot of skepticism in here. I know that there have been some failed efforts here. I've been in communities where that happened before. I was told I was crazy, and that was true. But I did what I said I was going to do. And I'm standing up here in front of you today. I live in Selma, Alabama. This is an Alabama company. This is not a foreign company. I give you my address if you want it, but I'm telling you, we're coming and we're going to do it. That concludes my remarks.
Thank you so much, Tom. At this time, we'd like to take a brief moment. Anyone with the audience or have any questions for our guest today that they may answer? As Tom said, we will be making this PowerPoint available to the press and to anyone that would like a copy of it. But if you have any questions at this time, I'm sure they'd be glad to answer. If not, by the time you get here next time, we're going to have them say, "Y'all pass the biscuits." We do want to welcome this group to our community, as I said before, and I know everyone in this room will work very hard to make them feel very welcome, and the benefits for what we're about to embark on, I think, is unlimited. And again, I want to thank everybody that has taken part for so many years in working toward making that happen. If there are no other questions, I'll ask Dr. Bobby Williams to come up. I'm sorry. Yes, Mayor Walter Porter, Mayor of Epps, will come up to. I'm sorry, we have a question.
I would like to just ask a question. Said that
K through 12.
I'm sorry, ma'am, would you repeat the question?
You said that you were going to partner with UWA and also with the K-12 program?
Yes, ma'am. The school systems in Livingston and Sumter County, excuse me.
Okay. That's what I was trying to get at. Thank you. Okay.
Well, wherever we go, once we get up to full steam and we're profitable, we share, because Jesus said to share,
You got it.
and that's what we do. Okay?
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This time I'd like to introduce Mayor Walter Porter, Mayor of the host city for the Port of Epps. Walter, if you'd come up and for a few closing comments.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Are you all feeling as jubilant as I am about this?
Yeah.
Because I've been paying attention to everyone, and you've been kind of like nonchalant, as if you're listening to a USDL program. But once again, we are presented with an opportunity of an industry that is going to locate here in the county of Sumter, and also within the region of the town of Epps. And I, for one, as well as speaking for the citizens of this area, I would like to say thank you to GELS for their commitment to come here. There's so many other places they could have went, but they saw the diamond in the rough, like we have been trying to advertise for years. The town of Epps has the railroad, it has the river, and we also have the interstate. And for some apparent reason, we've never been able to locate to get someone to come in. But thank God that we have a God that said, man, I was listening to Mr. Bogan. The words he kept saying was God and faith. And I'm a true believer that faith is the key to all things that can be accomplished in this life. So we as citizens of the town of Epps, and also the council, I like for my council to stand up. They're here today with me, and I'm not alone. So if you got anything to say about me, they're going to hear it and tell me. So we need to be positive. Okay, with that said, I want just on behalf of the citizens, and also not just the citizens of Epps, but of the county of Sumter, we would like to thank you all for coming here to bring life back into this black belt. Sumter County needs this in more ways than one. using our youth to Tuscaloosa, Birmingham, because they don't have jobs. And this is one of the things that we have to do is address that issue. Also, I thank you for supporting the school system, which is another avenue that we have to correct within this county to bring about change. We always talk about change, but change sometimes is painful. And until we as a people within this county, not just black nor white, but we as a people come together and put our children together, then we'll see a difference within this area. And with that said, I thank you all for this opportunity.
At this time, I'll ask Dr. Bobby Williams to come up and say a blessing for our meal. Again, I want to thank everybody for coming out to be with us today. Hope, I understand some of you need to leave for other engagements and may not be able to stay with us throughout lunch, but hopefully you can stay, look at the model here, ask any questions that you may have, and visit with some of these good folks up here at the head podium and show them a real true Sumter County welcome. Thank all of you for coming.
Most of you know, Black Belt was named for soil, fertility of that soil. It once brought settlement to our area of the country 200 years ago. Now we have another natural resource in this green. It's going to bring progress, hopefully, to our part of the country, which all will share. There's one man whose praises have not been sung enough, and I'm going to say the blessing. That's Judge Eddie Harlow. I've been on the industrial board for a number of years. There's no single man that I know of in Sumter County, rather than the presiding judge of the 17th Judicial District, that has contributed as much to industrial development in Sumter County and tried any harder than Judge Harlow. He is a role model and has taught me most everything I know about industrial recruitment and industrial development. He deserves a large amount of credit for what has happened. Let us bow our heads, please. Lord, thank you for bringing us here together to experience what we hope to be a great term in Sumter County in terms of economic development. Thank you for bringing Christian people to do it. Bless this food, bless the hands that prepared us, and lead us onward in a Christian manner. Amen. Amen.